Good day, summoners. It's me, Agita Swiftly, and today I have a very special guest. Matteo is joining me here from his top 8 run in Bologna.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So, first question first. How was your experience out in Bologna? From the stream, it looked very packed, very hectic, but a lot of fun. How was it for you?
Yeah, I think the first EU RQ was a big success. A lot of people in Bologna, and the overall atmosphere and experience for everyone was pretty great. There were things to improve, obviously, since it's the first event they're organizing in a European setting. But overall, I'd say the atmosphere was great, the vibes were immaculate, and I'm looking forward for the next one.
That's great. Are you heading towards Lille or are you taking a small break?
I am waiting on confirmation on whether Top 64 the is getting the chance to buy the tickets. If not, I don't have one currently, so I'll probably not go.
Skirmish wins and top 64 getting a chance to buy their own tickets again. As that's kind of the people you want to be in your tournaments. So I believe you're originally from Magic the Gathering.
Yes.
So have you found much of an issue going from MTG into Riftbound? It's been fairly smooth.
No, I think the transition is pretty natural. A lot of concepts in card game theory that go from one game can translate to the other one. And I think it's very natural for Magic the Gathering players that like to be in a competitive setting to find Riftbound appealing. For me, it was very easy. My local scene, a couple of my friends, really started playing Riftbound a bunch. I didn't give much credit to it going into set 1 because I thought the gameplay was a bit too linear for my liking. But then with the introduction of set 2 and way more card draw, I felt like the games would be more interesting, and so I gave the game a try and really enjoyed it.
Which, with the deck you played, definitely card draw was
Right.
a big part of that deck.
Yes.
So what's the biggest change for you moving into Riftbound from MTG? And what changes have you liked the most?
So for me, the biggest change is that in Riftbound, aggressive decks don't have such an easy route to victory as in Magic because the point system follows a linearity, with it in like you score every time you capture a battlefield, but getting that 8th point requires you to either hold or capture both battlefields at the same time. This was something I saw that could be exploited very easily at first, and that has transitioned into many of these miracle decks that have arisen in Riftbound to follow like a hold strategy, whereas towards the late game they try to just capture one battlefield and stay there to like gain tempo and accumulate resources to then transition into the other one. This is something I really liked. In Magic, if your opponent takes a very early lead, even if you manage to stabilize the board, you can still lose from a position that would be very, very hard to lose from. So yeah, this is something that I really liked moving into Riftbound, and something that I've tried to use as much as I can with my deck building.
It's good to hear. So you played Ezreal. What made you go, hey, I like this twink, we're going to play Ezreal today?
So for me, Ezreal was the most consistent legend, basically because having access to it every game makes it so your opening hand consists of 6 cards in just like raw numbers. And also its synergy with Cold Shot makes it a very powerful card, as in you is a card advantage engine that keeps other card flow cards better. So for me, Ezreal was just the most consistent legend. I wanted to play something that let me see the most number of cards possible, so that in my deck building I could include many one-offs and stuff like that and see them eventually when I needed them in the game. And Ezreal was the perfect fit for me in that sense. And also it turns out that Chaos is like the most powerful color in the game at the moment. So I just thought, okay, let's give Ezreal a go, and really liked it from there.
Yeah, Chaos is for everyone else and consistency for itself, so it's definitely a very strong colour right now, but with the reveals coming next week, who knows what could be the next most powerful colour. So which matchup was you least looking forward to, and how often were you playing into that matchup?
So frankly, when the tournament was coming, I thought that the deck had no bad matchups, and I really the issue that I faced the most and the one that I prepared the least for was time. Time structure allowed some players to take some very long turns, and since the judge system was not very familiar with competitive settings and the use of time in a not very adequate manner, then I ended up losing 2 rounds in Swiss to time, to the point lead difference and all this stuff. So moving on, I would like to change that and to approach that in a different way to like try to be faster or like try to make my opponents go a bit faster if possible. And regarding decks in particular, I think Victor with pickpockets, the main deck pickpocket Victor that appeared at the tournament, is not a great matchup. I also think Miracle Draven is a pretty intricate matchup that both players have to navigate very well in order to win. But overall, I don't feel like I was sitting at a table and like being unhappy about any matchup in particular. Some are just more challenging to play than others.
Time is the enemy of all man, I do agree with that one.
Yeah.
So, looking back at the event, and obviously we have your deck list here, are you still happy with that deck list, or is there a card or two you want to change out, or maybe the ratios weren't where you wanted them in the end?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy overall. I think I could have respected the Ezreal mirror a bit more. Overall, in my testing, I figured some people would play Ezreal, but I really didn't test the post-board games against Ezreal list that included 3 pickpocket like I did. So I should probably include 1 treasure trove and 1 pack of wonders in my sideboard moving forward, just to try to break the pickpocket cycle and to keep some rune economy going. This is something that Miracle Draven has adopted in the post-board games. They also play this kind of 2-card setup that allows you to ramp every turn and keep the card flow going. So yeah, that's something I tried, but overall I think the list was pretty good and I was pretty happy with it.
So looking at your list compared to others, it was a little different, but overall very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So also when looking at your list, you're running 10 Chaos Runes and 2 Mind Runes, which seems very odd to most people, but then again, the only thing that needed any mind power was essentially the Rocket Barrages. Is this a little bit tight on runes, or did you ever feel that was perfection all the way through?
Right. So initially, the deck building process, we wanted to maximize the fact that, like, since the deck is very cheap, and the way the deck plays out is that late game you might have to take a lot of game actions. I didn't want to get restricted by my blue runes and not be able to recycle enough in late game. So some games you would want to go down to 1 rune to 2 runes just because you want to play very aggressive, some rebuke, some arcane shifts on rebuke, etc. And having the possibility to do that at will was something very important to me. Also, the 2 mind runes, the number is chosen specifically because whenever you play 3 or more mind runes, there was a combination of mind runes in the start. So when you go on the draw or on the play on obelisk, if all the mind runes come together and you're unable to play Ezreal, that was game deciding in my experience. So I just ran the minimum number possible in order to enable Rocket Barrage, which was like a very late add to the deck list. But overall, I didn't feel it was needed. I didn't feel like the mind color was needed whatsoever. I felt like the deck could run almost entirely chaos. So I'm still happy with that, and I've rarely found an issue with it.
Great to hear then, really, that you didn't really lose sort of any access points, which is pretty good for any deck, really, especially something that's going for a 10 and 2. But as we are heading into set 3 very soon, with the reveals coming next week, is there any legend that you've seen that you're into? Are you a League of Legends fan, or are you more just the card game kind of fan?
I mean, I like both. I did play League of Legends a bunch and try to play more competitively when I was younger. At the moment, I'm not playing that much. So I play sometimes casually with friends and stuff. But yeah, regarding Legends, I don't know which ones have been spoiled. I know Vex is coming in at some point, which I think will be quite cool, especially because she probably fits the Chaos plus Mind theme as well. I saw Diana is also in those colors, so I'm not particularly attached to any champion per se. But I just like for me, Ezreal was not the affinity with a champion, but more so the affinity with the mechanics it produced. So to me, I'm just open to like looking at new legends, looking at new signature spells that are powerful and that align with the gameplay I want to be doing. And I think like introducing new ones routinarily is pretty good in the game.
Yeah, so it gives you a little bit more flavour as you kind of digress through the game state itself.
Yep.
Are you experimenting for Lille? Obviously, we spoke earlier that maybe you'll be going, maybe you won't, depending on the situation with tickets. But have you started practicing towards Lille, as it is only, I want to say, 8 weeks away?
Yeah. I think it's less, right? Isn't it like a month away? I'm pretty sure.
Lille is the end of May?
No, end of April, I think. But
end of April, yes.
Regardless, yeah, I have been experimenting a bit. I have been trying. Obviously, some new decks have been introduced, especially at Vegas. This Detonate Draven deck has gained a lot of popularity, and even if I don't consider the deck to be as good as advertised, I still have to prepare against it because people will be playing that deck. So yeah, I am trying to first expand my testing group. So like try to group up with other Spanish and also like South European players who are going to the event and are willing to test and try hard for it. And yeah, overall, I just like playing the game in general. So like every excuse is a good one to practice, basically.
Yeah, I mean, that's always good, especially if you're playing against other people of your same skill level, so that way you can see where their mind is or their lines are compared to yourself. Would you consider running Ezreal again for Lil, or maybe even for Utrecht, or are you sort of waiting again just to see what's happening with Unleashed and I suppose the power of Ezreal going forwards?
Yeah, I think for Lil, I probably will submit it unless I find something very unique and powerful. Personally, since I joined the game, I've never been kind of a metallic card chaser. I've always just wanted to win the tournaments and like qualify for the event the top 64 qualifies to. I don't know the full name, but like yeah, I just wanted to take like play the most competitive setting I can in every game. So I would probably still run Ezreal because for me it still holds that I think it's the most consistent legend and the one I like the most and adjusts to me the most. And regarding set 3, I just like to wait and see the whole picture. So whenever the whole spoiler is out, whenever all the cards are out, I'll make sure to try them and then see what fits me better.
Sounds perfect. And then last but not least, as you said, you're kind of a league enjoyer, especially back in the day. Is there a champion you'd like to see in the game? And if there is, what playstyle would you like that champion to have?
Yeah. So I mean, both the champions that I play the most, which are Draven and Aphelios, are already introduced into Riftbound. I would like to see an Aphelios Legend just because of like how intricate the champion is within the actual League of Legends game. I think that applied to Riftbound and like having the ability to have like multiple legends or something or multiple lines of text within the legend would be interesting. So yeah, I think there's much room for exploration there, but again, I'm not particularly attached to any champion.
Awesome. Thank you very much for being here today. Is there anything you'd like to say to everyone out there, and where can we find you out there in the open world?
Okay, so all my socials are TheManLand TCG basically. I am very active there. I post regularly about Riftbound and other card games. I also have a Metafile where I have published at the moment the guide for the Ezreal deck I posted. I think it's quite unique because not many people are trying out the deck, and I think they're missing out. So definitely check it out. There's a free section there as well to introduce you into what the deck consists of. And yeah, I'm just happy to be part of this community and hopefully for a long time.
Thank you very much. We're glad to have you, to be fair. It's nice to see people just enjoying the game for what it is, and as you said, not really chasing those metal cards, but just chasing the fun of the game. Thank you very much. And thank you guys for being here. And again, I'll leave links below here, just that way you can find the man, the land, Mr. Mateo himself, and go check out his Metafy.